This is Jacob with Kinnettic Kreations again. Today we have a Yamaha Viking. This one's a 2015, but this kit will work on 2014 on up. So all of our kits, they come with the standard front harness with the horn. And then when you're checking out, you can pick out whether you want the lever. This will bolt to the steering column with the module that goes with it. Or you can get the 3 toggle switches. And for your front lights, we have several options. We like to put a set of lights somewhere in front and then a different light on the side. So for the front, you can pick from our 1¼ inch round. You take a 3/4 inch hole and that sticks in there. You can do either 2 or 3 of these. The 3/4 inch round, 3/4 inch hole. These have splitters that'll plug into the front harness. You can do 2 or 3 of them. Otherwise, we have this rectangular smoke light, and then that will come with a set of screws. So you'll get a choice for your front, and you also get a choice of your side, where you can get one of these, or one of the little guys. And then also in our kit will be the rear harness. This was a little different than most because for taillights they actually use bullet connectors instead of an inline connector. I assumed they were going to use one of these, but bullets work too. And then for power, there's a connector under the hood that we plug into, which also has a signal for reverse lights. So our kit will come with a little relay on it, and there's a connector in the back for reverse lights, so you can plug in a reverse light. Today we're gonna show this one on there. It's freaking bright, so it should be bright enough for what you need, and it'll all plug right in. There's no splicing required. You have to drill a couple holes for the lights, and in the column for this, we'll show you that. It comes with the bracket, the bolts, everything. It's a complete kit, plug and play, not what they sell on eBay or other places where you actually have to splice stuff. This, you won't have to cut or snip or splice a single wire. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna start at the back. We're gonna put our rear harness in. So down underneath here on either side, you'll find 3 bullets for each tail light. You'll have, there's an ignition power to turn on the running light, there's a ground, and then there's the brake light. So we're gonna unplug the yellow. Then on our harness, it'll be labeled. And there's a male and a female on the right side. So you plug the male into the female into the male. And then, to the other side. Same thing, I already unplugged this because I had this machine got dropped off yesterday. We developed the harness for it, and this is our first prototype. So now what we're going to do is we're going to route it following the main harness up the front through the middle of the vehicle. So this one will be a little trickier because it's got all this bulky stuff on the back of it. I might switch that out on production one, so if it looks a little different, it'll still work the same. It'll just be easier to route because we won't have this clunky relay in the way. But yeah, I'll probably just put I'll add a connector so the relay is not attached to it the entire time. So we'll flip this box up. So all we're going to do is we're going to follow the main harness through the vehicle. So one little section at a time. We'll route this. So in here we're going to follow this harness, follow it down, it goes under here, and it goes under the seats. These seats just pop off. Middle section. This middle section pops out. You got these 2 little screws, thumb screws, I guess. So this pops out. Let's see, down here. There, the harness will fish the length of it through. Have a new starting spot. Take out the center piece. So the center covers use a whole bunch of 10mm bolts. So you got a 10mm socket on there. There's also there's two of these little demons. Instead of being a push pin, they're screwed in, but you gotta be careful when you're pulling them out. They're easy to strip, and they might already be there, so you have to just pull them out, unthread them, just go carefully. You can't push the screwdriver in hard while you're turning it, or it will strip it back up. The seat frame's kind of in the way, so you got to pry your corners forward gently. But there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, and then there was 2 quick pins in the middle. All right, so we got that center part out. Now we'll start fishing our harness up below this air box here. Front here, we'll pop out the same center console piece. These guys are serious about holding this center piece down. I already got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts out and 2 quick screws or whatever you want to call those. And there still looks like 4 more bolts and 1 more quick screw. This one I think we're not going to be able to avoid it. We'll have to pop the seat bracket out. We want a 12mm socket for that. And there's plenty to get through here. Don't need to pop it out. It's caught underneath the dash up here in the front, and I'm afraid I won't get it back in if I yank it out. Well, we have it up enough out of the way. You can run our harness the rest of the way through here. If you look down here, here's where the harness comes out, the factory one. So we're going to try to follow this up through this bundle. Here's the plug we got to plug into. It had a cap in it, and it was plugged in and hiding up in here. But we'll need that guy. So stuff this through down here. There we go. Guess the relay wasn't an issue like I thought it might be. There's some models where you'll never get that through, but this Viking isn't too bad really. So there it is up there. So we'll get this up here. The relay up here, this white connector we can plug in now. And this gray plug will stick up there. So we got the white plug here we plugged into, and then we shoved our gray connector up there, and then we'll zip tie this relay off later. Now that we got our rear harness run, it's not zip tied down or anything. Pop the hood. And we can pull to right on those. Pops it like that. Here's our gray connector. We'll tuck that there. We'll find a spot to mount our horn. I like to use existing bolt holes. Makes life easier. On this side here, this 10 mil that holds this cover together. Nope, just kidding, that won't work. Aha. Down here, bolt holds this radiator bracket on. I'll attach that. Now before I stick it down there, our front harness has 2 wires for the horn. It's purple and a black. Does not matter polarity, but you got to make sure the spade goes on the brass tab and not on either side of it, because if you plug it on the side of it like this, you'll think it's in there, but that's not going to honk the horn. They'll be chasing it later, calling me up or something, but make sure it's in there. Throw our front harness up here out of my way. We'll mount this down here. Horn is mounted. Our front harness is labeled front right, front left. That's when you're sitting in the vehicle, so right would be passenger side, left is driver's side. For our light selection, this customer chose the smoke lights for the front and the side. We're going to mount one smoke light here. We'll do one on the side of the fender. Now when you're picking a spot to put your lights, you want to make sure there's nothing behind it. So here it's nice and safe. There's a spot back up here to get the connector, the harness through. So we'll go there, and on the side here, there's nothing. On some machines, you go back, you pick this spot, and then there's going to be a bracket or part of the headlight or something stupid there. All right, so our smoke lights, you only need a 5/8 hole, just big enough to put our connector through. On both sides. Now we got our plug through. So we'll lift this cover up enough to get connector in between there. So, I don't know if you can see it or not. Here's the harness. It goes up past the headlight, and then right up here. That way we can plug it in. On to mount them, we include these Phillips screws. They take a number 1 Phillips bit. We throw 5 in per 2 lights, so we give you 1 freebie to drop. Second one's on you. With the foam gasket, you don't need to crank them down or anything. If they're on a curved surface, they will separate because they're a flat light. So pick a spot that's relatively flat, and like I said, the gasket can squish a little bit, so that takes up some of the slack. Get this other light in there. Same thing on this side. We got the plug up underneath here. Look on the center, we'll go 8 inches there. And same thing, we'll put our 2 screws in here. Our light's all mounted here. So Now it's time to plug them in. There's 2 connectors, 2 lights. Put the right side in there. Alright, so now we got the front harness in. Worry about zip tying that down later. Next we need to do the lever. So this I had to get a little creative on. On all the CF motos there's a bare column and bolts. On the Kawasaki there's a bare column with bolts. On the Polaris there's a bare column with bolts. The Honda we take the cover off. On some we leave the cover on. K&M we take the cover off. And this one, this collar goes all the way around. The only way to get it off is to take the whole dash off from the steering wheel, so that's not going to happen. We thought about maybe cutting this and using a hose clamp, but that didn't seem like the best idea. So what we did, just came up with a bracket. That'll go right here. So it'll bolt to the bottom. You'll have to drill some holes up in the top to put this in. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to drill a hole to fit this connector through, feed it in, and then drill 3 holes for the bolts. So it'll fit like that. We'll have 1 bolt here, 1 here, 1 here. So it'll be right behind this. So what I'm going to do, drill right in the back corner, because then our bracket will cover it partly. If you look down here, you can actually get your hand all the way up into this tunnel on the bottom and the sides. So right here you can see where our hole started. So I got a lot of room before I have to worry about hitting anything, if we don't want to hit that power steering stuff on the column. But now I know it's safe. There we go. So the bolts we send with our kit are 1/4 20, so you'll want to drill a 1/4 inch hole for a nice tight fit. And then in order to get this to sit flush, I'm going to drill some holes for the screw heads to go. Hole drilled for the bolt, and for the bolt. And then I drilled some holes here for these bolt heads to recess into the column. Looks kind of ugly like this, but it all gets covered by our bracket. So we have these bolts and these nuts, so you'll put the bolt through here. I'm gonna bore these out just a little bit so the bolts slide in there a little better. And then these flange nuts will go on the back side and they'll dig into the plastic to keep them from popping off later down the road. Next side's up. And now you'll need a 3/16 Allen wrench for the bolt. And then a nut will start out finger tight, but then we'll need a 7/16 wrench on it. Start on this top one. Top one's a little tricky to get to. We'll start on the bottom side right here. All right, that one started. Got the top one in, bottom side one in. All right, so that's on there. The top one's a little tricky to get your fingers on because, as you can see now that we have a cable in here, it got in the way, but so you can see 3 nuts and the cable coming in. Now this cable, we have to make sure it stays away from all the power steering stuff. Alright, so we got our module left. Rear harness goes here. So we'll tuck this one back. This is for vehicles that have indicators in the dash. This one does not, so you don't need it. Front harness goes here. it all back here nicely out of the way. And put this cover back in there. Now it's all plugged in, we'll turn on the key. So they come on as running lights. To the left, right, they're flashing. Horn's nice and loud. We got working taillights. And we got this plug here for our reverse lights. We'll plug that in quick and try that out. Find a spot to mount this little guy. Oh, we can mount this thing right there. It'll plug right into our harness. So plug that in. So right now it's in reverse. All right, so we got this one all done. They come on as running lights. We'll go left. Got left tail light. Do your tail lights only come on in the headlights? Or is there something wrong with them? Oh yeah, they only come on with headlights. That's good to know. Yeah, so you got the left blinker, right blinker. Our module is programmed, so if you leave it on for 45 seconds and forget to turn it off, it'll auto cancel. And now we got reverse lights, so there's reverse. I'm gonna hit the light switch. Show how bright this thing is. So yeah, it's pretty much pitch black in here. That reverse light is bright, so definitely be able to see, and that plugs right into our kit now. See this? There, self-cancel. Yeah, you hit the light. Now we just mounted it right there. Plug it into our harness. It's good to go. And you can see the lever's still on, so it canceled itself. But then when you flip it, it goes back. So we'll get these listed on our website soon, and you'll have your options of lights, but these smoked ones look real good and they fit real nice above the headlights, and you'll be able to see them at night.